Welcome back to another episode of Emotional Nightmares. My name is Tyler.
I'm Nicole.
And on today's episode, we're gonna continue the same thing, man. We said we would answer your guys' questions, so we're gonna go back to grab one out of the bucket here and see what it is. So let's do that, right? Bucket of death. We're going to reach in here and pull one that's just going to floor us, and we're not going to be prepared for this.
We'll put it back in. We'll cheat.
All right. So this one. How do you build self-esteem?
Yikes.
So how do you fake it to make it? Right? All right. I mean, that's a good question, right? I think, man. So that's a good question, and I think that for me, one of the things that I do, I think that. All right, so let's take this back, right? So first not even getting sober. I think first coming to grips with our mental health and coming to like, hey, I need to make changes. We're so down on ourselves, right? Everything is so negative. And I've talked on a couple episodes about changing the way we think, right? And like changing into more positive thinking and stuff. But that's hard in the beginning, obviously. And I think for me, one of the things that helped me was having little goals.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like
that's a good one.
Being able to achieve like little things where it was like, you know, when I first got sober, the very first job I had was I was a carny, right? I was
I love that.
a glorified carny. That's a whole nother day. And I have the guy that was with me on this episode. He's going to come do an episode with us.
Are you talking about the bouncy houses?
Yeah, we did that. Mechanical bulls, all that. But the second job I had was telemarketing.
Oh, really?
Right? And I was really good at telemarketing, but that helped a lot with self-esteem.
Sure.
Because I had little goals every week of I have to have so many sales. And I would achieve that and then some. For me, that really helped boost my self-esteem because I was like, I'm good at my job.
Yeah.
Right? I wasn't good at anything else in life. I really wasn't. Like when I first got sober, like I didn't know how to do normal shit, right? And like who does?
Right.
Because we normalize all this behavior that's so fucked up that I didn't understand that. So for me, it was I had to achieve little goals, and that helped. But like I had other little personal goals too, like okay, I want to make this many meetings in a week, and I would, and it was even the small goals in the morning of like before I go to bed, I want to brush my teeth twice, and I want to take at least one shower, right? That sounds ridiculous, right? And it sounds stupid.
Or people are like, I'm already going to do that.
Right.
Great.
That's why I had it as a goal, right? Is because I knew I'm going to take a shower regardless. By the end of the night, I can't not get into bed without taking a shower.
Yeah.
Right? My girlfriend says I'm way too hygienic, which is good, right? But like there was a time though in active addiction where I didn't do that, right?
I'm not hygienic at all.
So I wanted to make sure that I did do that.
My husband tells me I wear my cleanest, dirtiest athletic wear, and that I smell like a thrift store.
I can see his point.
Yeah, no. I'm okay with it. I'm like a thrift store. That's great. That's my favorite smell.
But no, like in all seriousness though, like those little goals.
Yeah.
I think that helps, man. Is like. Because you're not going to do this shit right away.
Right.
Like when you're trying to put your life together in the beginning, it would have been unrealistic of me. Like all I wanted to do was get a job, right? It would have been unrealistic for me to be like, well, I want a job that's paying this and doing this. Like
Correct.
That was my long-term goal, right? My long-term goal was right now I just want to get a job
Mm-hmm.
that I can like survive off of.
Yeah.
I don't need a job that's going to pay me $30 an hour. That's later, right? And I knew that. And I think that unrealistic expectations,
Yeah.
right? I think we just talked about that. Is like you have to have, when setting these goals, you have to have, are they clear, are they reasonable, and are they obtainable, right? Because if I would have got sober and had the goal of, I'm going to make $1 million, that's not real. Right? Maybe you can do that. Maybe you have the means to do that. But the only thing I knew how to do was make meth and crack, right?
Or a mess.
Yeah, like I don't have any trades, right?
Correct.
Like I didn't learn how to work on cars. I don't know how
Right.
to do construction. I knew how to take 7 grams of it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter the recipe, right? But I knew how to make crack, and I knew how to make crack out in a microwave, and I knew how to make it on a stove,
Perfect.
and I knew how to make crystal meth, and like those don't translate into real world, right? So if I would have came out and been like, "Oh, I'm gonna make all this money by like getting a job," who are you kidding?
Yeah.
Like I have no skill set.
Even if
you
we
know?
went to go get a different job today, we have a very particular set of skills that might not apply.
That make me an emotional nightmare.
Just because I could tell you why somebody did a behavior or, empathetically how to handle it doesn't mean that translates into absolutely anything.
And it also doesn't mean that our lives are good.
Oh my gosh, no.
Just because I can tell you how to fix things don't mean that I know how to even put some things into practice.
Right.
It just sounds good.
I don't even know how to fix things. I just do really well of observing. And then the application of
That's fair.
is a little bit different.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So, self-esteem, right? I
Yeah.
think also goes insecurities.
Yeah. I'm really lame, and again, think of things in pictures and movies, and I'm going to do it again.
It's your ADHD.
Have you ever seen Wreck-It Ralph 2? Stop, right? Okay, so Wreck-It Ralph 2, he broke the internet because he was so insecure that a virus got in.
Yeah.
And I think that is such a perfect, visual aspect of what insecurity is and how that, honestly, just watch it. But another thing that I really love that applies really hard to me, which doesn't mean that I am really great at changing anything, but it's just that, whatever I can't handle or haven't dealt with, I pass on for my kids to deal with. And so, what does that look like? Well, I understand that I struggle a lot with body image and, eating healthy and those sort of things. I get it, right? So let's just take that topic, okay?
Don't kill me in the middle of this episode. I gotta fix this light.
Did you hit record?
I did. Okay, we're good.
Okay, yeah, we're back.
We're good.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
No, yeah, so if I am in front of the mirror, talking negatively to myself, or if I'm looking at photos on the internet, telling myself that I just want to look like that person or whatever my kids observe better than I ever could. It's a skill that I had to relearn as an adult. Mm-hmm. And your kids will see and hear the way that you talk about yourself and to yourself. And then if you don't correct that, they're going to do it to themselves. Mm-hmm. And then, a lot of parents are like, I don't know why they feel that way about themselves. And it's like, well, because you felt that way about yourself. And so it's just trickling down.
You ever heard the song? There's a song. It's by Lupe Fiasco, right? Lupe Fiasco is one of the greatest lyricists around.
Yeah. Taught himself in a library.
He has a song called Bad Bitch.
Oh,
right?
yeah?
It's not about that, right? So, it's about where he's rapping about it's crazy. You gotta listen to this song, right? So, and all the viewers listening, I recommend that you listen to this song.
Yeah.
There's no better way to depict perception than that song, right? Because it's of a girl. So he raps from the perspective of a little girl watching the video girls and wanting to be one.
Honestly.
And then he raps about a little boy and how his mom is rapping in the car about like about being a bad bitch, and like and how she's rhyming other things like savage, and like he does like the
I'm gonna have to listen to
lyrical
it.
skill. But towards the end, he talks about like how the girl thinks she's a bad bitch, and he thinks that she's bad at being a bitch, like his mother. And he's like,
Oh,
so, and then he's like, but he raps about it, and he's like, she's saying this, and he's saying this, and how it's two different perspectives,
yeah,
and how she thinks it's a good thing, but he sees her as this bad thing because she's not, because he's like, she's walking out of the house and like this mom never did that, no, she never did this. So like, and how like it's interesting,
Yeah.
right? Like I think Lupe is the most slept on individual.
I
Like
like
you either
Lupe.
like him or you don't. And I
Yeah.
think that everybody should listen to that song "Bad Bitch,"
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Neither here, but that goes with what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
It's like from the eyes of a child, and he does very good at most of his music at doing that, like giving you different point of views of different people.
Yeah.
He has another one called Little Weapon where he does that, but
Yeah, I'm gonna have to listen to it.
yeah, he's phenomenal. But I think that that's the big thing, right?
Yeah.
Is like when we're talking self-esteem, like how do we rebuild our self-esteem? And I
Right.
think the little goals, so for me, is different for everybody.
Right.
Right? Like I got a friend of mine, man, he was really struggling. He hit the gym, and that helped him
Sure.
with his self-esteem. It did nothing but help my ego,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Big difference.
Going to the gym actually at times makes me depressed because
Well,
I can't. I'm already depressed, and
I
then
want-
I can't go because I can't get myself out of bed, or I don't want to be around people looking at me, or
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I want to be clear that there's a big difference between confidence and ego,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Where, like, he was building his confidence in that gym. When I was going with him, I was not confident and was full of ego, right? Because ego is just fear, right? And I was hiding insecurities in that. And I ended up blowing out my rotator cuff, right? Because like I was, because I was
'cause
ego
we're old.
lifting, right?
Because we're old and we can't do
Yeah,
that
I mean
shit.
it was just crazy. But so like that was the case of point is like I think that the confidence level, like to me, that's what I'm always trying to strive for, is to be as confident as a mechanic.
Honestly.
A mechanic, my buddy, like I got a friend of mine who's a mechanic. I could call him right now and say, hey, my car is going thud, thud, thud over on the passenger side.
Yeah.
He'll be like, yeah, bring it over, I'll fix it.
Yeah.
Right? He don't know what the hell a thud, thud means, right? Like nobody does.
Yeah.
Right? I'm making this shit up.
Yeah.
Right? It might not even be that side.
Right.
All he knows is he has a confidence in himself that he knows my skills are good enough that I can fix whatever sound that car is making, right?
Yeah.
To me, that's the level of confidence that I want to get into.
Yeah.
That's where that's where I strive to be, right? And people can confuse those two,
Sure.
right? Into the ego and the confidence level, and being able to say, oh, well, this person's egotistical, right? And I look at it like, no, they're confident that they know what the hell they're doing.
Right.
Right?
I enjoy a good confidence.
Big difference. Confidence is a stain you can't wipe off. So I think, if we're trying to build our self-esteem, I think it's learning how to change our perception.
Yeah.
Change the way we think.
It's a lot of unlearning. It's a lot of unlearning.
Very well said, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is a lot of unlearning
Right.
bad behaviors.
I mean,
right?
as
not
a-
bad. Let me rephrase that, right? Because
Yeah.
I don't want to say that. Unlearning unhealthy behaviors.
Yeah, there you go. That's probably
Because
better.
they're not necessarily bad.
Right.
They're just not correctly being used.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, like, growing up in the 90s, I personally, throughout my life, I've never felt that I've been able to connect to other people. I feel pretty connected to dogs. I know a lot of neighborhood dogs, and I don't know their owners. And that's like a thing. It's fine. But I've never, right? It's hard for me to believe in anything. And that's why I admire people that have such strong religion. I don't even care about what their religion is. To just believe in something that much is something that I've never been able to do.
Sure.
You know, so growing up in the 90s, which I'm sure that it's still popular now or was popular before that, but in my state of mind, like, being a calendar girl was important to me, or the look of a calendar girl. Do you know what I'm talking about? Or like the 90s.
To be like a model? Is that what you mean?
More porny than that. Like a Playboy, like Playboy in the 90s kind of just had like a cookie cutter.
Well, that was a terrible thing too. Because,
well,
like,
as a young
like,
female, I believed that in order.
Wow.
Well, the way that I grew up, in the type of culture that I grew up in, again, just my perception, because I didn't feel like I connected to anybody or my surroundings, which I figured out much later why that is. But my perception of what was happening was I wasn't worthy unless I had a man. And in order to get the kind of man that would provide for you, you had to look a certain way because that's what they wanted. And that was this cookie cutter, like, Playboy. And so, like, I've always wanted, my hair has always been super curly. Like, and I've damaged my hair so much over time to try to get it uncurly. Because at that time, like, the perception was people who had very thick, dark hair with highlights that were able to wear a particular type of bikini and their body was a certain shape, that was important to me. But my understanding in my head of how that was, I could never look like that. I am 5'10" with bright red hair that's super I look like fucking Carrot Top. That's who I looked like, okay? There was no, like, and I would get upset with myself because I looked like that, and I would blame myself a lot. But like I said, I don't want to talk about my mom too much because, again, my perception of her might be different because I didn't feel a connection towards her. But she, in my eyes, was very actively reflecting on, if a man is not paying attention to you or serving you compliments, that depicts your worth. And I ran off of that because that's what I saw or believed. So double down on the image that I had.
So I'm sorry, I apologize if we're not going to answer the question that's being said and if we go into some weird shit. That's a good point that you're bringing up to you, and I think we're in a day and age where it's worse.
I think it's worse for these kids
because
I didn't have social media or a phone or connection to somebody all the time.
I see I'll see girls today compare themselves to Instagram models. And they'll be like,
you can't.
And they'll be like, I don't look like this and this and this. I'm ugly. I'm there. I'm like, first of all, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, second of all, and like, I've always, and I like there is that one movement of like, just you're beautiful no matter what.
Yeah.
Right? And people argue this, and some people will be like, well, this is this, and this. Everybody has their own preference. Right?
Self-image has burned into my brain, though. It's a problem. It's a whole
sure. I think everybody
problem with my mental health. I will become physically nauseous.
So I think that's like with everybody, and like I'll see women particularly, and I've never been a woman. I'm not a woman, right? So like I don't understand that mindset. I'll never pretend like I do, right? My perception of outside looking in, right? So from my point of view, is I see a lot of women that'll compare themselves to women and they'll be like, well, she's skinnier than me, so she's this. And I'm like, why would you want bread when you can have biscuits, right? That's always my argument, is I'm always like, but thick thighs save lives. Like, that isn't that better? Right? And then
it's just the way that it's presented to us.
So the other side of it, though, is you have like famous people that are, it's like, nah, man, like they got filters on.
Yeah.
They got lip injections. Yeah. They got butt injections. They got this, and this. And like anybody, any actual like guy out there will tell you yeah, I would prefer a whole natural thing
Yeah.
as compared to whatever the fuck is going on now.
Yeah.
Because this shit now, like, you can just look at people and be like, come on, like, this isn't real, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I think that, I think that's more damaging now.
Yeah.
Than ever.
Because it's in your face consistently all the time. I needed a magazine, a TV.
Not only that.
People have it in their palm of their hand.
People are... Money can buy what you think looks good.
Correct.
Right? And what's crazy is like, I'll look at these people and be like, but that doesn't look good.
No.
Like, I might have an unpopular opinion here. Right? None of the Kardashians to me look good.
Yeah, I don't think they're beautiful humans, but like, I don't think that like...
No, like, I get it. Like, they have, they look beautiful for whatever point of view.
Yeah.
Whatever their makeup artist did for the day.
Correct.
Sure.
Yeah.
They can look good. They have the money to do that.
They have the money to do that.
I don't think that to me, like, I just look at that and I'm like, nah. The one Kardashian girl that's not had any surgery.
I don't know which one.
The one that's an actual model.
Oh, that one's a Jenner.
I look at her and I'm like, she looks better than the rest of them.
Yeah.
Because she's more natural, right?
Well, but then unrealistically skinny. I mean, she's actually
I was just gonna say and then even her, I look at her and I'm like,
right.
I mean, maybe if she ate some more Big Macs, that would be my perception, though, right? Because that's my point of view. Is like for me, I look at it like, well,
yeah.
If you're not thick, what's the point?
Well, so they just like.
I think, but to your point,
yeah.
I think that is real.
Yeah.
In the minds of most females. Now, for men, right? I've talked about this before, is I have almost not identical, right? But where, like, when I was going to the gym all the time, I would have people tell me, like, bro, you're getting bigger, you're doing good. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, no, I'm not. Hold on, I'm going to go drop all this money and go buy tattoos.
Because somebody said something about your appearance?
Because I felt like I was wearing clothes.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like, I basically in almost a full
you really are.
Body sleeve,
yeah.
Right? And it's really so, like, I feel comfortable. I feel more comfortable when I don't. Actually, now I don't, right? I did. I don't now, right? Because now the opposite, I have the opposite effect. Where I feel very uncomfortable because people look at me.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I have that same thing. Sometimes I forget that I have tattoos. It's just my skin.
I do until I go to someplace like the beach.
And I'm like, why are people looking? Oh, right. Okay.
Man, I was at the beach.
Look like a prisoner. Right.
Yeah, I was at the beach and like I'm noticing and I'm like, oh, like for whatever reason, at this side of the beach, tattoos really don't look like they're a thing around here. And I'm like, oh no. And I'm like looking at like this older lady that's looking at me. And she's like looking a little harder, right? Kind of like holding her stuff a little closer. And then like in my mind, I want to be like, I've got more wrapped up in my body than your car, right? But you know what I mean? But like, so now I feel uncomfortable with it. So like it helped my self-esteem in the beginning, but now it kind of hurts me, but I don't do anything to fix it. In fact, I just keep getting more tattoos until I'm covered, but why not? So like it had that effect, right?
Yeah.
So I think that I think that that's
right.
Body dysmorphia is the most interesting thing to me. Well, it's the most interesting thing to me, right? Because that's where like with that's when anorexia and bulimia, like that's where those are birthed out of, right?
Yeah.
And
I've always struggled with an eating disorder my entire life because of the
Eating-
way I think that I should look in order to receive respect from people.
Right.
And it's taken me, I broke this again, it's taken me a really long time to figure out that, like, my ability to use my body or use sex or use the illusion of importance is not what makes confidence. And I think that's why people say that money doesn't buy happiness, because it has to be
right.
me being ethically okay with my own internal integrity, and that's what has made me more confident in things.
I hope everybody just heard you say that, right? Because, like, the most important, like, out of anything out of this episode, that's probably the most important thing,
Yeah.
right there, is being able to say, it doesn't matter what I look like, because my looks,
Right.
my ability for sex, or the illusion of,
Yeah.
or even money, none of that is going to boost
No.
the confidence or self-esteem. In fact,
It's put me in worse situations, if not anything
and it
else.
will, right? Because like, if
You'll
you're
get targeted.
well, not only that, like, if your self-esteem is built purely off of your looks, what are you gonna do when they start to fade? Right?
Honestly.
So, like,
Or if you're not ovulating that week and you feel
Right.
ugly, what are you going to do?
So,
you know?
So I had that on money, right? Like, I had a confidence based, like, so like when I had first got sober, I built my confidence off of, like, money.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, I had money. I had a good job. I was young.
Yeah. You
With
made
the
good
job.
investment decisions.
Yeah, I did, right? I for whatever reason decided early, like, I'm gonna do this and do that. So, like, I had, like, things until I no longer had things, right? And, like, homeless, living out of a car, I'm traveling around, and, like, I realized then all those issues I had were now in the forefront because I didn't have the ability to, like, buy new stuff to make myself feel better. Right? Because that's what I was doing. Back to the original question and what answers all of this, I think, for me, what I think the most, what builds self-confidence the most is when you can look in the mirror and just be like, I'm okay with me.
Period. When you're okay with yourself.
And when I don't give a shit about other people. Right? Don't care what you think.
Yeah.
Don't care what you have to, like, I don't care what your opinion of me is.
Yeah.
Because I know where I'm going. Right? And, like, because I have a confidence in myself that I know my capabilities, right?
Right.
So it's interesting, right? And it's interesting how people work, right?
Oh, humans are interesting.
Because, like, right now, like, we're on a grind, right? Like, we're grimy looking. Our videos are grimy looking.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, they're grimy looking.
There's been a few times we record and I'm like, I didn't shower.
We're literally in my spare bedroom.
We are.
Right?
With foam taped to the wall.
Yeah.
And a banner over a window. We're killing it, though.
Right. So, like, the perception, right?
Yeah.
So, like, right now, like, we're relatable.
Yeah.
Right? And people look at us like that. My fear is when we, because I was talking to somebody and, like, I want to move this all because I kind of want my spare room back. I want to move all this into an actual, like,
An office, a recording studio
like
of some kind.
An office, right?
Yeah.
Like, even if we can rent an office or
we are looking for sponsors.
I'm hoping that the one guy will sponsor us and just,
I
like,
would love that.
give us a room.
Amazing.
Give us a room to put this in,
Yeah.
and, like, we could shout them out.
Until my lungs hurt.
Yeah, I'm hoping that works. Maybe
Yeah.
we can work out a deal.
Yeah.
And that would be cool. And I would like that, right?
Right.
And I hope that
But it's just the act of keeping doing it. I think so many people talk themselves out of their own confidence or their own worth because they're like, well, it's not good enough. It's not, but just do it. It's going to make you happy if you just do it.
So here's how this works, though. So if we're trying to please other people,
Yeah.
so if you're trying to please
Who are
other
all
people,
the pleased people?
and if you're caring about other people, right? When all these things do transpire, and then the core people say to us, what happened with this? Why aren't you doing this? What is this? You're doing this, you're doing that. And we say, well, if we try to appease to that, we're going to lose this, right? And I was watching this interesting thing. And I was watching this interesting thing. And like our show, this podcast, right? I love the people, man.
Yeah.
We're not, like, we're gonna cater, but we're not.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right? Like, answering these questions, stuff like that. Like, this is me, like, I'm trying to stay with our core audience of people because, like, I appreciate them, I love them, I actually want to have a cookout, invite everyody, right?
We're gonna barbecue in the backyard.
Yeah, why not, right? When we reach 5,000, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go barbecue down in Butler, because we have a huge group of people in Butler that follow us, right? I love our Butler people. But the whole thing is, though, is like, I don't ever want us to lose our authenticity, right?
Yeah.
Like, we are who we are.
Yeah.
So the crazy thing is like, I feel this way about certain things now. There will be, like, our viewpoints as we go through the personal growth are going to change.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
On different things, right?
We're going to play back some old recordings.
What was our last episode?
I don't remember what I just told you 5 minutes ago.
Right. So whatever our last episode was, ask me that question in a year, and my answer is going to be different, right? And, like, that's important to understand.
It should be different.
So it should be. This is important to understand, I think, for everybody when you're talking self-esteem and you're talking self-confidence and you're talking do I like myself, this, that, and the third, is if you're open-minded and willing to, like, change. Like, at one point in time, I used to be the guy that was like, man, fuck you and your MATs. If you're on medical assisted treatment, you're not doing it, right?
I think I remember you back then.
Yeah, that's not real.
Yeah, it's
right?
not real.
That was my.
I felt that way too, but now now that I understand, I understand that it is a systematic issue and has nothing to do with the people receiving care.
Right. So our perceptions change, right? Yeah. Because we were open-minded to say, all right, make it make sense, right? I had a guy, he was a client, who said, yeah, you know what? Here it is. Boom, 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 laid it out, and I said, you're right. He said, what? I said, you're right. I said, in fact, you are 100% correct on all of this. And my approach to the way that we've been doing our therapy sessions is wrong. So first off, I need to apologize to you because I've been wrong. Let me refocus, reshape the course of this treatment. Let's meet again in a couple days. Give me some time to reprocess this. I'm going to do some education. I'm going to learn some things. Yeah. Then let's come back and have this conversation again. Yeah. Right? And we did. And we threw away the treatment plan, rewrote a whole new one. Yeah. Right? Because he was right. Yeah. And, like, that's the other side, man, is, like, sometimes you just got to listen to people and, like, understand, like, I mean, I don't know shit. Right. My way is not always right.
I love it when people are like, oh, my doctor told me this, and I don't think so. And it's like, are you a doctor, Holmes? Like, are you a doctor? No, you're not a doctor.
Well,
wild how doctors. We have incredible confidence in things that we shouldn't. And
well, I mean, we also have wild confidence in doctors that we shouldn't. Right?
I mean, honestly, yeah.
Because, like,
there's
I have
two opposite ends
IBS.
of the spectrum.
I have IBS, and I promise you, I've gone up to the hospital up here. I won't mention their names.
But because you look the way you do.
I have been diagnosed with like 10 different diseases, and I'm like, none of these are real. I don't even have the symptoms to some of these. Finally, Joe Santos, guy that used to own Turning Point, I worked for him at the time.
Yeah, I love Joe.
And Joe was like, I want you to go see my doctor. And I was like, where's your doctor? He said, Pittsburgh. He said, I'm going to give you a couple of days off. I went, you go down there. He said, matter of fact, hold on. He called his doctor. He said, I scheduled you an appointment. You're going to go meet my doctor. He said, I'll take care of it. I'll pay for it. Don't worry about it. He said, go see that man and see what's wrong with your stomach. I go down there, meet with them. They run me through some tests. Doctor says you got IBS, right? So I don't always trust some doctors. Some doctors you do, some doctors you don't. At the end of the day, you know your own body better than anybody else.
Do people?
Yeah.
Health literacy is a thing.
I mean, true, but at the same time, though, like, sometimes doctors don't listen either.
Yeah, and I have, like, a conspiracy theory idea that, like, the food industry is making us sick so the pharmaceutical industry can make us reliant. It's fine, so...
Right,
we'll
and that's probably true.
Different day.
I mean, that's probably true.
It's probably true. I'm pretty much...
I mean, it is kind of 100% true.
It is.
I think for food is important.
Yeah.
Right? What you eat, it matters.
Yeah.
Bro, we're way off of self-esteem.
No, because I mean,
we answered the question.
I mean,
Hold on,
because
let's reel this in.
Because when people go out and they have, okay, like, let me just take myself for example. I have huge body image issues. I have a lot of imposter syndrome, especially when people try to give me compliments. I'm like, I just answer the phones and get socks. Like, you did whatever you're talking about on yourself. I just happened to be there. Like, it had nothing to do with me. And I don't take compliments very well, and I still struggle a lot with my body image. I mean, like, I changed jobs and I gained 15 pounds doing that because I no longer am, like, super active and I kind of binge eat when I'm sad. I mean, it's a thing that I do. So because of the cost of food and the cost of labor and what kind of food we can get around here in our area, because we can only rely on one store or, like, maybe two if we're, you know, whatever. Anyways, the food that is not expensive or I'm able to buy with my availability. And also when I was on food stamps, the food that's available for people on food stamps is highly processed, molecules away from not being real food and controlled by maybe 2 people in the entire world. And then they also are the same people that are giving those ingredients to medications, because medications use a lot of eggs and animal parts and things like that. And so I have a huge conspiracy theory about that. But when you eat that food, it slows you down internally. I think I've talked about this on the podcast before. And it affects your serotonin, your dopamine, and everything it takes for you to feel like a normal person. And so you're eating the stuff that you can afford because it tastes good and you can afford it. And, like, who doesn't want to eat a whole bag of Oreos? But it's made, especially things with dairy, are made to be more addictive. And then because of the way that it's processed, it creates internal fat, which is harder to work off than just doing exercising or changing the way you eat. It's an addiction. And then you hate yourself even more. And so, like, when you get in, I mean, they are conspiracy theories, but when you add in, like, the fact that those things are probably happening on top of the way that we've been learned or taught ourselves to allow ourselves to love ourselves or not love ourselves is the same way that we love other people, because we just kind of reflect internal thought off of each other. It gets hard. Like, a lot of the time, my grandmother was very overweight, and a lot of the fat on her was almost like hardened because of how long she had been overweight and how sedentary she was through life. And I used to look at her and get grossed out because I, again, have this fucking Playboy body image in my mind, right? And so even my favorite person who talks about this body image thing is Kate Winslet, because she'll say, Like, I wish I looked like Kate Winslet, because she allows herself to have weight on her, but then when she does, like, photos and stuff, they cut her up and use 4 other people's bodies to make her perfect. And she talks about how, like, those pictures that you see are not one person. That's 100 people cut up into Photoshop, and, you know, if you saw the original images. So when you add that on top of the things that you're learning from images and seeing people, like, when I see overweight people and I get in my head about how I feel overweight and how unconfident I am in just my own opinion because of these thoughts I've had, I will get physically grossed out by the appearance of others or the way that I feel. Like I will find a chunk of fat in a picture behind my arm and I'll be like, everybody knows it's there. Like, so food and my relationship with food and the fact that I have an addictive personality, I understand, is a lot about how I lose confidence in myself and the way that I react to things. I know that.
I mean, I mean, food is very addictive, right? And maybe we'll do a whole nother topic on that, right? A whole nother episode.
I'm here for local farmers.
Like that, it is very addictive. I mean, that's actually the reason why, like, I exercise today, right? I don't exercise today because I care about my appearance or what it's doing.
Yeah.
I actually try to make sure that I just don't regain, like, I don't become overweight.
Yeah.
Because of health reasons, right? And because, like, I be eating crazy food. Like, I love to eat food.
You like really spicy shit.
Yeah,
I saw you eat ramen noodles at 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Like,
yeah.
Spicy and physically hot. You eat them.
Yeah, it's not good for my IBS. But
I was just thinking that.
So, yeah, my kick right now is Indian food.
Oh, yeah?
It's normally Japanese food. Like, I normally eat that. But, like, I do eat a lot of raw stuff. Like, there's an actual diet for that. It's better for you. But
yeah.
I've been eating a lot of Indian food right now, which is extremely spicy. But man, is this so good.
You were choosing to do this to yourself.
I know.
Is this self-interest behavior? Should I be concerned?
Yeah. Yeah. Me and the Indian food. Like,
I have a bug bite. It's very itchy.
I'm obsessed with it right now. I can't stop eating it, right? I've been cooking it too. It's my new favorite thing to cook. So, like, it's just crazy. But anyway, let's reel this back to self-esteem real quick. Is, you know, there's many different ways to help boost your self-esteem. To not get lost, I don't want you to be in the mustard trying to catch up. So here's the deal, right? Is, like,
I'm a fan of dad jokes.
I think for me, the biggest thing that's ever helped me in anything is to have little goals that I've been able to achieve. When in life, if I don't have a goal, I am more depressed. I am more hard on myself because I start looking at that. Also, changing the mindset, right? I don't look at the things I don't have. I appreciate the things I do have, right? Like, you know, like, I always hear people that be like, well, you know, my job. I'm like, yeah, but you got one.
Honestly.
Like, you got a paycheck coming in.
Honestly.
Right?
And if you're not happy there, look for a different job. Don't make yourself miserable.
That's how they work, right? Like,
I know.
Like, your jobs, like, if you're not happy with it, or if it's not paying you enough, see what else is out there.
Literally.
Right?
Because, like I said, you're not that important.
Well,
the company's not going to shut down without you.
Well, not only that, like, your employer's probably lying to you anyway.
Legitimately.
Right? Because they do. Like, my new favorite thing is, like, how people are starting to see that, right?
Yeah.
Because, look, this whole, we're not, here at our company, we're not workers, we're like a family.
That's so toxic.
Yeah, like, no.
It is so toxic.
Lunch break is lunch break, right? Like, leave me alone. And, like, I don't really want to see you outside of work. No. I do hang out with some of my coworkers.
Yeah. My coworkers have been like family, but we've been through a lot of crazy shit together.
Sometimes you do. Sometimes like you meet people at work and like they become lifelong friends.
Honestly.
Right? And they do. And like that's okay. Right? But like I keep in mind, like I always say this, man, and like this helps my self-esteem.
Yeah.
I need to self-regulate.
Yeah.
Right? I need to do shit. Like I love going fishing. Right? So like I need to do that. What I need to not do is like I've been at jobs before where I was working 50, 60 hours a week.
It's a lot.
And it killed me.
It kills
right?
you.
And it killed me mentally.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I'm not doing that.
Right.
Like the job I'm at now, man, I love where I work.
Well, and we
right?
decide to pick high stress jobs to begin with. So 56 hours a week trying to empathetically provide emotional support to people.
Yeah, that's not going to work. So where I work at now, man, like I love the people I work with, and I love my job.
Yeah.
But what I appreciate the most is I work 37, 39, 30, sometimes 40 hours a week, because it's more of a clock in, do what you got to do, and as long as your work is done and it's done correctly, man, you can leave. You ain't got to be here so for me, like I have that flexibility, and that matters more to me than how much a job is paying, or
Correct.
this, that, and the third. Like I say all the time, I could go somewhere else and make more money. I've been offered more money to go work somewhere else, but it's hard because I have a lot of freedoms at my job that I'm not willing to give up.
Honestly,
right?
and sometimes that's just organization.
Right. So, and it takes a while to get there. So, like I always tell people is like, man, just be grateful for what you do have.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't have a lot today, but I have what I need.
Yeah.
Right. And like I have, you know, at the end of the day, man, like my bills are paid. The most important thing of it all is like I get to have dinner every night.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not relying on a substance that takes me 8 hours to a cure to make me feel better.
Not only that, like I don't know if you've ever, like I don't know about you, but like I've been broke with no money, where I've gone a day or 2 or 3 or 4.
Calling grandma to order you a pizza.
I've just gone 4 days without being able to eat.
Wow.
Right. Now I've, you know, or like conning my aunt. My Aunt Flo, like I used to con her. I'd be like, man, it'd really be nice if you made a hamburger today. If maybe you wanted to grill or something, and she'd be like, you want me
I'd come hang out with you then.
She'd be like, well, yeah, we could grill, and I'd be like, yeah, I'll be down, right? But she always took care of me like that. But for the most part, though, like I've been there, like, and hunger pains suck, right? And that feeling of where am I going to get my next meal at? Sucks.
Physiological security. I'm going to get the illogical.
Bro, that's crazy.
Physiological security.
I wish that in this world nobody had to feel that, right? Because to me, that's self-esteem, right? Like that's fucked with my self-esteem more than anything.
Because you can't reach self-actualization until you correct all of it.
When I didn't know what I was going to eat for the day.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care. You can shut my electric off, shut my gas off. I don't care. Right? I care more about, I don't even need shelter.
I've lived like a rat before. I'll do it again.
I don't need shelter, right?
Right.
Like I'm cool staying outside.
Right.
What I do care about, though, is do I got some food? That's fucked with my self-esteem more than anything, not being able to do that. So, the place down the street here, I won't mention their name, because I think they're a bullshit organization. But one thing they do that's good is they do a food pantry thing.
Oh, okay.
And they give a crazy amount. So there's no need in this county for anybody to be hungry.
Don't do it.
Because they give more than enough food. And those of you that don't have that resource, if you need that, message me directly and we'll get you that information.
Yeah.
They don't have an actual link per se that I could link on this or anything, but I do have their information that we can get to you. So that on their food pantry day you can go get some food, right?
Yeah.
So
I think I lived, when I first moved up here, maybe my second and third year in recovery, I lived off of food pantry food and ramen noodle alone, and that was
Yeah.
it.
There was this place that used to be called Angel Food Ministry. I don't know if they're still around.
I've heard of that. I don't think they are.
Yeah, I don't think they are either, but I gave them, so one time they did this thing. It was a couple times, right? And man, it was the best. It was $80, right? It was all it cost me. That $80 was 6 months worth of food. It was 6 months worth of dinner that you put in your freezer. And like for a single person, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, I had enough, and then today, I don't know, man, I feel bad today because like I'm struggling and I know everybody else is struggling. Like
Right.
I don't know how anybody is making it today.
Hopes and dreams.
Like I make a decent wage at work. So
Comparatively, I think we do good for this, especially
So,
this
for
area.
this area, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still a struggle when
Yeah.
I'm at the grocery store.
Correct.
And today, like the way that this world is, bro, like I get it. Like everybody's struggling. It's like $10 for a bag of Doritos, and they should be fucking ashamed of themselves, right? So I don't buy that shit.
I can't.
So I can't afford
I can't
it.
pay $6 for a bag of Doritos, and it's
The
only
last
half
time I
full.
went to the grocery store, and mind you, it's just me and my cat.
Yeah.
And like my girlfriend's here. I still spent like the lowest amount that I was able to spend one time was like $275.
Right.
But that didn't last me a whole month. So like that's crazy, right? So I don't know, man. I think at the end of the day, building your self-esteem really matters. On set some goals and really focus on like trying to achieve those little things. And if you don't
That's
hit them,
the key.
understand a goal. And like if you don't make it, you can change the goal, right?
Yeah,
So if
honestly.
your goal is like every day I want to make sure that I call this person at 9 o'clock, and you only do it 3 out of the 7 days, at least you did it 3 out of the 7,
Yeah.
right? So start changing the way you see things. Start being more appreciative of what you do have, and stop looking at what you don't have. And I think that's how you build self-esteem.
Absolutely. I mean, scientifically, you're correct because your brain does not understand the quality of the goal. It only understands the achievement of or
Right.
the failure of. So even if your goal for the day is to put on your socks and you were going to do it anyways, it doesn't matter because your brain then registers that as the win. So it'll release your natural chemical reaction to that. And then you will substantially have less anxiety over time if you're meeting these small, short-term, smart goals. That's it. Google that.
Speaking of that, it's 5 o'clock, right? So, well, it's 4:45, right? So that means it's time to start getting ready for dinner.
It's
right?
5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah, well,
God rest him.
I gotta figure out what I'm gonna eat for dinner.
Yeah.
So with that, man, again, as always, like every episode, you could have been anywhere in this world today. You could have watched anything you wanted to today. For whatever reason you chose to watch this with us, be here with us. I hope that we answered your question. I hope that you got something. If you didn't, it's all food for thought. So, man, you can do the dishes. Stay tuned. We got some interviews coming. We got some people coming. Hopefully you get something from us. That's all I got.
Yeah. Keep every hour happy.
Thank you for watching